Ginnungagap, the primordial chaos. Long before the world of men, gods, and giants took form, there existed only an endless void known as Ginnungagap. It was a vast, yawning emptiness, neither land nor sea, neither sky nor earth. There was no sun to shine, no moon to glow, and no stars to pierce the darkness. In this formless nothingness, time itself did not yet exist. But Ginnungagap was not alone in the cosmos. To the north lay Niflheim, a realm of utter cold, filled with frost, darkness, and mist. At its center stood Ymir, the roaring cauldron of icy waters, from which sprang 12 venomous rivers known as the Ylviga. These rivers flowed far and wide, carrying with them the bitter chill of Niflheim, freezing everything in their path. To the south, the fiery land of Muspelheim burned with an unbearable heat. Flames roared and danced in the darkness, and rivers of molten fire flowed endlessly. Muspelheim was guarded by the mighty fire giant Surtur, whose sword blazed brighter than the sun. He stood watch at the borders of his realm, ready to strike down any who dared to approach. For countless ages, these two primordial forces, fire and ice, remained apart, with Ginnungagap stretching in endless silence between them. But as time passed, the frozen breath of Niflheim spread farther south, while the flames of Muspelheim reached northward. When the two elements finally met at the heart of Ginnungagap, a great and wondrous transformation occurred. The heat from Muspelheim melted the ice of Niflheim, causing drops of water to form. These drops did not remain lifeless, instead, they took shape and gave birth to the first living being, Ymir, the ancestor of all giants. Ymir was a massive and powerful being, but he was neither god nor man. He was a primeval entity, a creature of chaos and raw power. As Ymir lay in the great void, he began to sweat. From the sweat of his left armpit, a man and a woman were born. From his legs, a six-headed giant emerged. These were the first of the frost giants, an ancient race destined to oppose the gods in the ages to come. But Ymir was not alone. From the same melting ice that had given him life, another being emerged, Audhumla, the great cosmic cow. Her body was vast, and her milk flowed like rivers, nourishing Ymir and sustaining him. Audhumla, too, needed sustenance, and she found it in the salty ice blocks surrounding her. She began to lick the ice, and as she did, something remarkable happened. On the first day, strands of golden hair appeared. On the second day, an entire head was revealed. By the third day, the full form of a man stood before her. This was Búri, the first of the gods. Búri was strong and majestic, and in time, he had a son named Bor. Bor grew to be powerful, and he took for himself a wife, Bestla, a daughter of the frost giants. Together, they had 3 sons, Odin, Vili, and Ve. These 3 brothers would become the first true gods, and their destiny was to shape the cosmos itself. Odin, Vili, and Ve soon realized that the chaotic world birthed by Ginnungagap could not remain as it was. The frost giants multiplied, and Ymir, their forefather, ruled over them as a being of great power. The gods saw that Ymir was a threat, and so they decided to strike against him. A great and terrible battle erupted, shaking the foundations of existence. Odin, Vili, and Ve fought Ymir with all their might, and after a struggle that lasted untold ages, they finally struck him down. Ymir's massive body fell, and from his wounds, rivers of blood poured forth, drowning nearly all of the frost giants. Only 2 survived, Bergelmir and his wife, who escaped by hiding in a hollow tree. They would go on to repopulate their kind, ensuring that the frost giants would remain a force in the world. With Ymir dead, the gods set about creating the world from his body. They lifted his colossal corpse and shaped it into the earth itself. From his flesh, they formed the land, from his blood, the oceans and rivers. His bones became mountains, and his teeth and shattered bones turned into rocks and pebbles. His skull was raised high above the land, forming the dome of the sky. The gods placed 4 great dwarfs, Nordri, Sudri, Ostri, and Vestri, at each corner to hold it up. From Ymir's brain, they fashioned the clouds, and from the sparks of Muspelheim, they created the stars, the sun, and the moon. Thus, from the emptiness of Ginnungagap, the world took shape. Order was carved from chaos, and the first god set the foundation for all that was to come. But the frost giants, sworn enemies of the gods, still remained. Their grudge would last for eternity, and one day, at Ragnarok, the final battle between gods and giants would bring an end to the world that had been created from the void. This was how the cosmos came to be, born from fire and ice, from the blood of giants and the will of the gods, rising out of the endless abyss of Ginnungagap. The creation of the world and the first humans. After slaying Ymir and shaping the world from his body, Odin, Vili, and Ve continued their work to bring order to the cosmos. They placed the sun and the moon in the sky, ensuring that day and night would follow each other in an eternal cycle. The gods assigned two beings, Sol and Mani, to guide these celestial bodies across the heavens. Sol, the sun goddess, drove her chariot through the sky, pursued by the great wolf Skoll, who sought to devour her. Mani, her brother, guided the moon and was chased by another wolf, Hati. These wolves would forever hunt the celestial orbs until the end of time, when they would finally catch them during Ragnarok. To further shape the heavens, the gods created the stars from the sparks of Muspelheim, scattering them across the night sky. They also established the measure of time, setting the phases of the moon, the movement of the stars, and the passing of seasons. Once the sky and land were set in order, the gods turned their attention to creating the first beings who would inhabit this new world. One day, as they walked along the shores of the vast sea, they found two lifeless trees, an ash and an elm. Odin, the All-Father, breathed the breath of life into them. Vili gave them intelligence and the ability to reason, while Ve granted them speech, senses, and emotions. Thus, the first humans were born, Ask, the man, and Embla, the woman. The gods clothed them and gave them a home in Midgard, the world of men, which lay at the center of creation. The 9 realms and Yggdrasil, the world tree. The universe was not made of only one world, but was divided into 9 realms, each connected by the great cosmic tree, Yggdrasil. This immense tree stood at the center of all existence, its branches stretching over the heavens and its roots plunging deep into the underworld. The 9 realms were: 1. Asgard, the home of the Aesir gods, ruled by Odin. 2. Ivanaheim, the land of the Vani gods, a rival group of divine beings. 3. Midgard, the world of humans, separated from the rest of the cosmos by a great sea and a protective wall built by the gods. 4. Jotunheim, the land of the frost giants, enemies of the gods. 5. Niflheim, the realm of mist and cold, home to the frozen rivers of Iliviga and the well of Yrgelmir, from which all waters flowed. 6. Muspelheim, the realm of fire, ruled by Surtur, who would bring destruction at Ragnarok. 7. Alfheim, the land of the light elves, ruled by the god Freyr. 8. Svartalfheim, the underground realm of the dwarfs, master blacksmiths who forged legendary weapons and artifacts. 9. Helheim, the underworld, ruled by Hel, the daughter of Loki. It was the final resting place of those who did not die in battle. Yggdrasil was nourished by 3 great wells. The first was Urd's well, located in Asgard, where the Norns, 3 powerful beings who controlled fate, wove the destiny of gods and men. The second was Mimir's well, the source of infinite wisdom, hidden beneath one of the tree's roots. The third was Yrgelmir, in the icy depths of Niflheim, where the great dragon Nidhogg gnawed at Yggdrasil's roots, waiting for the day the tree would weaken. The golden age of the gods and the rise of conflict. With the world in place, the gods established their grand halls in Asgard, where they built Valhalla, Odin's great hall, where fallen warriors known as the Einherjar would dwell, preparing for the final battle of Ragnarok. The gods ruled in harmony for a time, forging weapons, crafting magical artifacts, and shaping the laws of the universe. But peace would not last forever. The frost giants of Jotunheim, still bitter over the death of Ymir, resented the gods and sought revenge. The gods and giants clashed often, and Odin, ever watchful of the future, sought knowledge to prepare for the inevitable war. To gain wisdom, Odin sacrificed one of his eyes at Mimir's well, drinking from its sacred waters to gain insight into the fate of the cosmos. Meanwhile, among the gods dwelled a cunning trickster, Loki, the son of a giant yet counted among the Aesir. Loki was both friend and foe to the gods, his mischief sometimes bringing fortune but often leading to disaster. He fathered monstrous children, including the wolf Fenrir, the serpent Jormungandr, and Hel, the ruler of the underworld. The gods, fearing the power of Loki's offspring, sought to control them, binding Fenrir in magical chains, casting Jormungandr into the sea, and sending Hel to rule over the dead. Yet, despite their efforts, the gods could not prevent fate. Ragnarok, the end of all things, was foretold in prophecy. One day, the walls of Asgard would crumble, the dead would rise, and the gods would face their final doom. The shadow of Ragnarok. As time passed, signs of the coming apocalypse appeared. The world would suffer from endless winters, wars would rage among men, and the balance of the universe would begin to crack. The Wool Skull and Hati would finally catch the sun and moon, plunging the world into darkness. Loki, once bound for his crimes, would break free, leading an army of giants and the dead against the gods. In the final battle, Odin would fall to Fenrir, while Thor would slay Jormungandr but die from its venom. Surtur, the fire giant, would set the world ablaze, consuming all in a storm of fire and destruction. But even in the face of destruction, hope remained. From the ashes of the old world, a new one would rise. The earth would be reborn, green and fertile once more. Two human survivors, Lif and Lifthrasir, would emerge from their hiding place and repopulate the world. Some of the gods, too, would return, including Balder, the beloved son of Odin, who had died but would rise again to lead the new age. Thus, the cycle of creation and destruction would continue, for even in death, life finds a way to begin anew. This is how the cosmos unfolded, shaped by the clash of fire and ice, order and chaos, gods and giants. From the emptiness of Ginnungagap to the rebirth after Ragnarok, the Norse world was one of struggle, prophecy, and destiny, an eternal cycle without end.